Hello friends! Today I'm gonna give you guys a little tour of the one and only sketchbook that I was ever able to complete, which is this one right here. There's something about finishing a sketchbook that is really scary to me. This might be topic for therapy, but yeah, completing a sketchbook is something that I was never able to do. I usually abandon them before they are done, and I have a bazillion unfinished sketchbooks around the house, but this one is complete. There's no empty pages left, which is exciting, I guess. Okay friends, so this is the sketchbook that I used to illustrate the things for my book. I have written a book. It's crazy, but it's done. And this book is basically a drawing guide, a how to draw book, and then I share a bunch of different techniques on how to draw with ink pens specifically. And although I have a bunch of illustrations out there in the world, I had to illustrate specific things for this book. So first of all, if you go on YouTube and you look for sketchbook tours, you're gonna see the most beautiful decorated sketchbooks with stickers and all sorts of beautifulness. And this is so basic. I'm not trying to make an ad for this sketchbook, but all my sketchbooks are pretty basic, pretty simple, and I actually considered making a pretty cover just for this video, but then I didn't want to be fake. So this is life, this is real life, this is how I do my stuff. The first drawing I have here is this beautiful little insects. I actually love these drawings and I have a video tutorial for these. Link somewhere on this page if you guys are interested in that. But basically for these drawings and all the drawings in this sketchbook, I use these kinds of pens. These are the three sizes I use the most. It's usually the Pigma Microns 005, 01, and 003 for extra fine details like the hairs on this bumblebee. And this was originally not done for the book. It was just done for a YouTube video, but I ended up using on the book and I'm gonna show you guys what I did with it. There's a bunch of things like this for the basic lessons of the book on how to create textures. So this is a bunch of like different textures. This is how to do the textures in different scales and different tones. So basically going from light to dark, and I teach in the book like how to use that in a drawing. This is a little tutorial on how to draw a bird, as you can see, and how to use a pencil as a sketch to do the sketch marks initially as well. This is how I usually draw anything. I use the geometrical shapes to put the positions of anything that I want to draw on paper. And it was interesting to draw like this because usually if I'm drawing, I'm never gonna see the 4 stages all at once in a page. I would draw everything in here, right? I would just draw everything one time. So for the book to draw the stages, I basically had to do each drawing 4 times, and it was way more work than I anticipated. Actually, I'm kind of sharing this too because someone out there wants to write a book and wants to illustrate a book and wants to know what's the process kind of like. This was also done for a video. There's another video on how to draw leaves that I just posted a couple weeks ago. So this was done for a video and I also used it for the book. So I try to recycle some of my illustrations on the book, and instead of doing something super creative and super out of the box, I try to keep it simple. So these are just actual realistic leaves that I drew from reference. Not much creativity that goes on in here except for how to shade and how to create textures. There's like a creative side to that. But yeah, this is why I was self-conscious in sharing this sketchbook, because it's not very creative. It's mostly basic how to draw things. I love this drawing. I actually want to frame it and put it somewhere, but yeah, I really liked how this one turned out. I wanted to practice how to draw water and how to create this water effect here, and I think it ended up pretty well. If you are interested in drawing water and creating this sort of like realistic effects with the ink, the best tip I have for you is to use the thinnest tip pen you can find, and an old one if you are able to find one. The oldest your pen is, the best you're gonna be at finding these kinds of little effects here, where I don't even know if the camera is picking up. There's ink here, but it's very faded out. It's very light. And if you get a new pen, you will not be able to get this effect. Like a new pen will release way too much ink and you will not be able to get this effect. So save your old pens. This is definitely the simplest and best tip I can give you when it comes to drawing drawing water and things that are really faint and really light like this. These are again a bunch of textures, now kind of playing with the different strokes that you can create for drawings. I think I didn't use this two in the book as I didn't like how they turned out. This was supposed to be fur and this was supposed to be hair, but I really like how this one turned out, like the fabric. And I totally underestimated the time that it would take to do all of these drawings. So I wanted to have done so much more. You're gonna see some empty spaces in this sketchbook. It's because I did not have time to do more. Like, I wanted to do way more portraits. So for the process on how to draw people in the book, I have a whole chapter on how to draw people. It's very much focused on the technique with ink pens and not so much focused on how to draw people from scratch. Like, you can find fundamentals of drawing and fundamentals of portrait drawing out there, much better resources than I could ever offer. So on my book, I basically focus more on how to create these kinds of shadings. And for example, this is done with cross-hatching, so is this, but how to create the different skin tones, right? How can we see that both skin tones are so clear, like you can see the difference in them? So I show in the book how to do that, and I actually loved so much how these drawings turned out. I wanted to do more and I just didn't have time to do more for the book, which kind of bummed out. At least I got those two, and I think I could showcase pretty well the difference in skin colors. And in this case, I was just basically showcasing how to draw a full body person and also kind of mixing it with fabric, playing with light. You can see that there's so much darkness, so much drama on this drawing over here, but they're both realistic. They're both following realistic proportions, but they can actually look so different when it comes to the textures and the shading. You can create a whole different atmosphere for your drawing through different shading and different processes like that. And by the way, all these drawings are completely out of order in the book, so I kind of like did a little bit of illustrations all around, and I followed the sketchbook in a totally completely random order. All these illustrations are positioned in a different way in the book, but anyway, this is the beginning of the lesson on shading and basically how we can differentiate texture and shading, because it can be so similar when it comes to ink pens. You're basically working with lines. So here we have a little bit of texture on this mug, but here we have texture and shading, right? Do you see the difference? You can see the highlights, you can see shadow spots, you can see what's more towards the back, what's more closest to us, where's the light source, and things like that. And in this one, similarly, we have a little bit of texture on each of this, like the furniture and the chair and everything like that. But here we have the shading and we have all this depth and the drawing just a little bit more captivating, if you will. Now this one, I was supposed to continue on this part and I did not have time, so this is what I have. I don't have much experience with drawing landscape, but I wanted to do an attempt on a quick version of landscape. So this is not super detailed, it's kind of simplified. If you get close to it, you know, these lines are pretty rough, they're not super detailed, and this whole drawing took me about an hour to complete. So this might be a long time for you, but compared to the other drawings, this is really quick. And then I had some basic little guidelines on how to draw portraits and how to position the shadows. I don't really love the way I did it here. I don't even think I used this on the book, but this was the first version of me drawing the guidelines to show you guys. And then I also had some other drawings that I had previously. So I did use some drawings that I had from my videos and from my classes and things like that. And then I just did the steps, like the first steps. So I have a leaf, I think it's the second page here or here. So this leaf right here, I already had it ready, like the final step. So I just drew the initial 3 steps, and this was clearly a mistake. So the 2 initial steps here. This flower is somewhere in a different sketchbook, the ready flower. So these are the first 2 steps as well. Also, this is why I haven't been drawing on this side of the page, because I needed the drawings to be really clean. I was using it for the book, and this was is kind of happening to most of the pages. If I flip through it, they are all kind of dirty here. I'm sure if I put a little parchment paper or something, that would have prevented, but then this sketchbook would become a complete mess. So my solution was just simply leave this empty, and I don't know, maybe I will do something with it now that the sketchbook is done, or halfway done, I guess. But yeah, this is for the lesson on textures. There's a whole chapter of the book on textures and how to create realistic textures with ink using different techniques. So for example, here we have metal. These 4 drawings here are metal and they use different techniques. So here we have a hatching with a thick pen. So as you can see, the lines are very visible, but you can still see the highlights. You can still see that it's made of metal. You can still interpret it, but the amount of lines have less lines, but thicker lines. And it creates this super cool stylized effect, a little bit less realistic, but still following a realistic proportion effect that I actually want to explore a little bit more moving forward. And these are also some different ways of drawing metal. So as you can see with metal, the trick is to leave really sharp highlight. The difference from dark to light happens pretty quickly. As you can see here, it goes like from white to black to white to black to a little lighter gray to a really dark black. There's the sharp reflections is what creates this metal effect. Same here, you see it's like dark, light, and this creates this effect. For this is basically pointillism or stippling, whatever you want to call it. What creates this effect is the sharpness, and from moving from dark to light, from dark to light. The highlights need to be sharp, aggressively sharp, and this creates this effect here. For glass, these 2 are examples of glass. We have one with stippling as well, so you can see it can be done with stippling. It's just a different style, but it's still a cool stylized way. You can do everything with stippling. I find stippling to be one of the easiest but time-consuming techniques. It's easy because you have a lot of control of how much light and how much darkness you put on each space, but if you don't have the patience, don't even play with it because it just takes forever. It's so time-consuming, but it is one of my favorites. It's so easy to create realistic effects and it looks so good in my opinion. I love it. For this table, as you can see, to create the glass effect with transparency, as you can see, there's just a difference in tone here from whatever is behind the glass and what's not behind the glass. So we have just a little bit lighter version of this. What do you call this? Like a cylinder that holds this table or this glass thing. And it just looks lighter, right? We also have a little vase here that's creating a little bit of a reflection, a little bit of a shadow. And this helps give this effect of glass. Same here. This was basically in the original picture. This was basically the reflection of a window that was like somewhere in here, and it's basically done with a simple vertical hatching. So as you can see, it doesn't follow any of these lines. It doesn't follow proportion. It's just vertical, right? This is how light behaves, and it is weird to understand why, but if you look at a reference picture, this is what it would look like. This is another example on glass with more rougher lines. I also wanted to give some examples of drawings without it being so neat and so, without it being too much of a perfectionist, because I am a little bit of a perfectionist and I try to make everything super neat and super detailed, but this style is really cool. Like when things are a little bit rougher, like the lines are a little bit rougher and things are not exactly perfect, I find this to be almost more interesting than just pure realistic. So there are some examples of the drawings where things are a little bit more loose, basically. And this was an attempt on water, which I just abandoned because I wasn't liking it. Now looking at it, I think it would have been pretty cool, but I gave up on it. And then we have our animals. For the book, I have a bunch of examples of animals. Some of them look really ugly. It's embarrassing, but I'm going to show you guys the ugly ones as well. I'm going to show you everything. Real life, I didn't rip out any pages from this sketchbook. Yeah, this bunny, super cute, adorable. This is a fox. Also super cute. This is terrible. So I kind of had to adjust this digitally because it wasn't matching with the position of the nose here. Wasn't matching the nose here. So I adjusted this digitally. But the goal here was to show the texture and how to create fur, how to do each step separately, one by one. And so this is how you would do a fox. I absolutely love this frog. I think this frog is amazing. Super cute, super adorable, super detailed, pretty realistic if you ask me. Pointillism is stippling is actually perfect for a frog because it kind of gives the porous texture of a frog. So it works really well with the frog, but this took me about, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours to complete. It is time consuming, guys. It is really time consuming, but it's fun. I love it. This was supposed to be a little jellyfish. I gave up on it. It's not on the book. It's cute though. I kind of want to do something like this, but bigger. I found that like doing it small like this, I didn't really show all the details I wanted. Again, me being a perfectionist, now looking at it, it looks pretty cute. I think I could have used it, but I didn't. Moving on, I did another turtle, which is another drawing similar to the frog. This stippling is also, again, perfect for a turtle. I think it looks super cute. Again, super time consuming, but I absolutely love this one. This is a tiger that I have a different drawing of a tiger that I really love, and this one is so terrible. I did not like it. It's not that it's terrible, like there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just, I don't know. I just didn't like it. I didn't use it. I just abandoned it. So it's a lonely tiger in the sketchbook. Same with this cat. Oh my god, what happened to this cat? I don't know. I could not use it. So if you look at the reference picture, this looks actually really close to the reference picture, but in the drawing, this does not look good. The cat, the reference picture I was looking at, had this really dark color under his eyes, which in real life is super cute, but sometimes you get the situations where you're drawing in black and white, and the difference in tones will not translate well in black and white. And I should have anticipated this, but I didn't, so I just abandoned this one. I also did not use it. Then we also have a plants area of the book, a plants section. This is a step-by-step on how to draw a tree. I have another tutorial that's similar process. It's a different tree that I drew on my tutorial, the tree tutorial, but this one is super cute. I love it. Pine tree, I also love this one. I was super insecure when I was drawing the stages because up to here too, I thought like I'm gonna have to abandon this, like it's not gonna look like a tree. And then I always remember the trick is to add shadows. If I stopped here, this wouldn't be good. But when I added some drastic shadows, really deep dark shadows, then it looks good. And this is how you draw a pine tree. These are not all of the illustrations from the book. This is the sketchbook. This is complete. But I have more illustrations that I did for the book, and I found some pages and I'm gonna show you guys. So for example, here I was showing the steps on how to draw humans, and here I have the final version. So this guy is this guy. And this is basically the initial lines that you would do with a pencil before turning into this. These are also some other initial versions of the final drawings. The initial lines that you do with any drawing. So basically you would do this with a pencil before turning it into an ink drawing. Same thing here. We have some more initial steps. These are some final ones. I probably started with these. I like to start with the end. So I usually did, the final versions first, and then I did all the other stages. I found that to be easier in the process. So as you can see here with this penguin, like this is probably the 3rd step and this is the 4th step. With the elephant, same thing. This is a much better cat. Yeah, this cat is better than the other cat I drew. That other cat, oh my god, that other cat, poor guy. Like, he didn't make the book, but this one did. So this is another stage for the cat. I actually really love this fish as well. Let me put it back here. I am in love with this fish. I want to draw more beta fishes. They are so cute. I love how this thing is so flowy. I don't even think I did an amazing job here, but I just love it. I want to do more of these kinds of little fishes. So these are some intermediate states here. Some more tutorials here. This is also the first stage of this lady. So this would be the first lines you would do with a pencil until you get to this. Of course, there are several stages from here to here, but this is how you would draft something like this. It starts like this to get to this. So if you've been resisting using guidelines for drawing, I don't know another way to draw, to be honest. So this is what I have to say. And this is a drawing I worked on for a Skillshare class, and I used it just just to illustrate the book as well. But this is Avenida Paulista. It's a big avenue in São Paulo in Brazil. It's close to where I went to university, so it's kind of a special place to me. And I did this drawing for a class on how to draw in perspective and how to do urban sketching and how to draw, you know, buildings and how to draw urban scenes. This class is not out yet because I need to finish editing it. I actually finished filming it last year and I still haven't published it, but this month, September, it's coming out. It's happening. It's official. If this class is out by the time you're watching this video, I will absolutely put this in the description, but the class is not ready yet. It is in the editing process, as it has been for about 6 months, because I need to prioritize it. But yeah, it's happening. At some point, it's going to be live and it's going to be on Skillshare, and I'm really proud of this class because this drawing took me several days to finish and I love it so much. It's very beautiful. As soon as the class is ready, I'm definitely framing this and putting it somewhere. So this is it, friends. I hope you guys enjoyed this little sketchbook tour and this little sneak peek of my book. I am super proud of it, and yeah, if you would like to support me and you would like to learn how to draw and you want to check out this book, you know, it's down in the description. And you can also check out some of my drawing classes on Skillshare if you are interested. But other than that, let me know in the comments what you would like to see on a future video. If you would like another tutorial or if you want tour of the studio that is currently a mess, ignore. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you would like to see, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, friends.